Thank you for the scheduling.
No.
So let's start with Marigold. This has been a successful restaurant, right? How do you explain your success and the restaurant's success?
Well, I think it starts kind of with the neighborhood and the vision of the property, So Wynwood, I've been a part of Wynwood for quite some time now, and it's growing up. I describe it as kind of a teenager that's about to go to college, and you have Arlo with this incredible vision coming down here and building this hotel, and coming on as the culinary director for the property. We wanted this restaurant to be basically something blooming and growing out of this concrete jungle that Wynwood is. So that's where the idea, the concept, the color palettes, and then of course the food came from.
So how did the arts and culture of Wynwood influence the concept?
Well, I'm not an artist in the classic definition. My mother's side of the family, they're all artists. My medium kind of becomes the food. However, we want this to be a brasserie. To me, a brasserie is a restaurant that everyone can find something or many things on the menu they like, no matter how you like to eat. You want to cruise around the menu. You want to share a few things. You want to get a big steak. You want to get a handmade pasta. We can do that for you. So I felt like we need to be approachable, but also fun and interesting. And kind of the artistic aspect comes in some of the presentations, some of the look and feel of the entire room, the whole thing encompassing. That's where the inspiration came artistically.
Which dish in light shows that idea of Marigold? What?
Our layered brioche. Yes, so it's our signature bread and butter service that is at the restaurant. The brioche itself is actually folded to look like a flower, hand folded and then baked. So that was one of the first inspirations. I mean, many facets of my personality can be found all over the menu. I would say there's two dishes that stand to mind when you say that. The tagliatelle pasta, which is local pomodoro, tomatoes, a little bit of sweet crab, and this caramelized cheese sauce. Basically, I put that dish on the menu because that's how I like to eat pasta.
Okay.
On from day one, absolute signature. And then the Caesar salad. I'm a huge Caesar salad guy. I've been doing plays on it my whole career. And this one has gotten a lot of attention. It's light, it's bright, it's shareable, it's with fennel and the baby gem greens. So it has that traditional texture and palette, but we use fennel pollen and shaved fennel, kind of brings it to this new spectrum. It's pretty cool.
You are known because of a creative type of cooking. How would you define that cooking style?
In my household, I grew up in the Midwest. We didn't have a whole lot of flavors going on. We didn't have a whole lot of different ingredients. Cooking and culinary wasn't a huge part of our home life. So I get to actually borrow inspirations from all these other cultures. And for me, it is a melting pot similar to what Miami is. We have so many different people coming from so many different places. I get to be inspired by all these things by not having super over-defined background of my food, like I was born in Italy or my mother was from France or something like that.
So, in terms of ideas, amber, alter, amber, marigolds, they're completely different concepts. How do you come up with all these concepts? You have a group, like brainstorming. It's you, it's Soraya with you.
There's just they're just in my head somewhere, and they pop up at different times, and these thoughts, I start writing them down. They could be years in the making. Just putting notes in my phone as I'm always traveling, like, oh, I'm getting inspired by this, I'm intrigued by that, I want to learn more about this, and then the ideas just start flowing. So luckily it's just another expression of my mind or my creativity.
I was going to ask you, so you would say that every one of them represents a kind of part of your personality in some way?
Exactly. Yeah, they represent something inside that has something to say or something to express or something to explore, with a different style.
And you feel that has changed through the years? Like the way you express, the way you feel? Because we grow up, we change.
Yeah. It's I think it's difficult for me to define that. It's probably even probably better for some of our diners that have been eating my food for years to define that, because I'm just still cooking. You don't really realize it when you're in the moment,
Yeah.
that this is you now. You still think of yourself as that 18-year-old kid.
But I have an idea how you can do that. What is the dish that you used to do that nowadays you would never cook? That shows you some changes.
Oh man, I don't know if I'm that old yet. Yeah.
Okay, so on the other hand, what's an eureka moment or a dish that you're really proud of that you would say this is a before and after this?
Well, I think I have a great answer to this question. So I have a dish that was my most famous dish. It was at Alter. It's called the soft egg, and it was this creamy mousse with a egg at the bottom and little truffle pearls like caviar and crispy cheese, and people would literally fly to Miami to eat it. And I've decided to put that on the menu here at Marygolds coming this fall. So that is the first time I've re-put something onto the menu. I've been getting DMs, text messages, phone calls. 1 to 2 tables a night are calling me over to ask about it. And now it's time. It's going to come this fall here to Marygolds.
How do you feel about the changes? How would you explain the changes or describe the changes in Miami?
Well, I think it's all for the good. I've been here about 12 years, so I feel like I've been a part of all of this kind of growth in the culinary scene, at least this most recent stage of it, and then which coincides with the growth of the city, specifically Wynwood. So, comes bad with the good or good with the bad. There's growing pains with everything. But I would describe us as an exciting young culture that's burgeoning, ready to prove itself, and also ready to become its own definition. For a long time, Miami was struggling to have its own definition because everyone was coming from everywhere and just starting to put their feet in the ground, their roots in the ground, excuse me. Now it's starting to have its own expression and its own voice, and people are reinvesting or investing into the culture here. So it's just a special time to be in Miami.
What are the challenges? Because you said that there were growing pains with this. What are the challenges you have found with these changes in the last couple of years in Miami?
Sure. I think some of the challenges are there is a lot going on. There is a lot of growth in a lot of neighborhoods, a lot of influx from outside, so you have operators coming from all over the world, coming here to have second or third or multi-location or new concepts. So there's a lot of noise, and we do still rely on tourist season. Summertime is still summertime, and so in order to continue to stay relevant, you need to listen, I think, to the diners like I was mentioning before. I'm super excited. We have this fall-winter menu coming out in October. I'm gonna kind of restructure the menu again. I'm gonna go back to listening to the guests and using that as excitement. The soft egg, the famous soft egg, is coming out of the menu. That's happening, along with a lot of new creations. So I just can't wait for mid-October for this new menu to launch.
And for you, besides Marigold, besides the Hotel, besides the kid, I think that Soraya is suspect.
Baby number 2 coming, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, a baby girl. So
oh, that's great. So you have the couple. So besides that, in terms of a chef, what is next for Brad?
I still have a lot to express. I have still have a lot of ideas, a lot of research and inspiration that I have absorbed and want to continue to absorb. So I think next for me is to go on some culinary trips and see what comes from that and how I can express it back out.
How do you explain your success?
I started very young. I started in kitchens when I was 10 years old. Started cooking when the day I turned 15, which you're allowed to use a knife. I got inspired to be a chef around 17. So that's 20 years wanting to be a chef and 27 years working in the kitchen. During that time, I became very focused, and I knew what I wanted to achieve, but I also knew that I had to work extremely hard, but I studied outside of work constantly, and I pushed myself to understand why things happen scientifically in the kitchen, um, why things work and go together, and then why things work in the restaurant industry. So I would say internal focus and growth would maybe be the definition of why I've had success.